Hey, Hannah here. I built a fully branching scenario in Genially using a custom AI generated widget, and I want to walk you through the whole process, including the parts that didn't work to show you the true build out. So I started by prompting Claude to generate a branching scenario widget for Genially. First version looked great visually, but when I went to actually use it, the side panel was a lot to manage, a lot of fields, and it wasn't immediately obvious how everything connected. Then when I went to test it, the outcome slides weren't firing correctly, so I rebuilt it a couple times to keep having the same dilemma. At that point, I thought, okay, what if I make this easier on the data entry side and pull from a CSV file instead? So I had Claude build a second version of the widget with that option for a new prompt and had it build the CSV file to attach. The problem there was I couldn't see a preview in the editing screen, which made it really hard to tell if anything was working. It would work on the preview screen, but not when I was in the editor. I kept trying to adjust things, kept getting errors, weird button text showing up, and on top of that, users would have to manage image files in the CSV, make sure they were the right file type, and even then the outcome slides weren't pulling correctly. So I went back to the original widget, keeping everything inside genially. Here's the honest breakdown. The pro: once your data is entered, it looks really clean and everything lives on one slide. You're not jumping between 30 slides trying to manage navigation. The con: that side panel is a lot to manage. You're configuring every decision point and path inside this one widget, and making sure all your paths are correct requires testing every single route manually. I built an 8 outcome path, which is 3 binary choices deep, and that already felt like a lot to track. Scaling that up would be very difficult to manage. To make this more manageable for myself and for anyone using this as a template, I built a branch map to match to the widget template to make it easier to plug in your scenario text and match it up. You can see the full path structure laid out: your level 1 decision, level 2 nodes, level 3 nodes, and the 8 outcome codes: AAA, AAB, ABA, and so on. The idea is that when you're in the widget editor, you can match what you see on this map to the fields in the panel. It gives you a reference point so you're not trying to hold the whole tree in your head. In the template itself, I kept the coded letter paths. Then I also built out an actual example scenario with a real storyline, the architect's dilemma, so you can see what it looks like with actual content. Here's a question I want to throw out to you. Is this widget approach actually easier than just building branching slides manually? Because when you think about it, with manual slides, you're mapping out your actual slide deck, you can see every screen, and you have full control over the appearance of each one. With this widget, you're doing all of that inside one side panel on one slide. The widget is powerful, but easier might depend entirely on how your brain works and how complex your scenario is. A few things worth knowing if you use this template. You can add an action to any node or decision point, so if you want a path to exit the widget and send the learner to a different Genially slide, you can do that. If you don't assign a direction to an outcome slide, it defaults to a screen that says "Selection recorded, end of interactive experience." I left that in on purpose. It's a signal to the builder that they still need to route that outcome somewhere. One thing I'd caution against: you could put a continue button on the slide itself, but it would be visible the entire time, meaning a learner could skip the whole interactive. Not ideal and looks off. I made the widget background transparent so you can customize the look behind it in Genially, and you can change the font type and the accent color for the buttons. One more thing, I only included the opening image on the first page of the scenario. Adding images to every decision point and outcome slide makes the widget editor really heavy and harder to manage. If you want to try this yourself, I'll link the template below. And drop a comment. Would you use the widget approach, or would you stick to manual slides? There's no wrong answer here, and I think it depends a lot on your use case. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.